Hello, and welcome to our Cerenade video. In this video, we will demonstrate how to use the USCIS Visa Bulletin Times Tracker. It is an optional module we offer that tracks USCIS receipt numbers and Visa Bulletin info pertaining to your client on a nightly basis. It checks according to the dates on the processing timetable provided by the USCIS and the Visa Bulletin provided by the Department of State. Once your client becomes current, you will get an email notification allowing you to take the next steps. This avoids you having to check periodically. The software does the work for you. Let us log into the Caseworker Portal. In order to use this module, you must have a case profile already created for your client. Let us locate the case. Once the case has been found, go to the Documents tab on the right and subcategories will open up. We will focus on the ones titled Immigrant Visas and Notices. When clicking on Immigrant Visas, you can now insert visa information pertaining to your client. Let us click on Add Immigrant Visa. From here, we will enter some information. First, we will begin with the priority date, then your category, your preference, and finally the country of chargeability. Once you've inserted this info, the system will automatically set the filing cutoff date and the final action cutoff date. It will also automatically list the filing current as of and final action current as of later when your client's dates become current. You will then select who will receive an email notification by clicking on this blue icon. A pop-up will appear. You can set yourself, another caseworker, and you can even have the client receive the email. This means once your client becomes current, all parties checked here will receive an email notification. Now, the bottom section does not need to be filled out, but will help you when receiving the email report. This is you listing the info that will appear in the email, such as naming the petitioner on the case, the beneficiary, the client email, and the caseworkers. Once we have all this info, we will finalize by clicking on Save. By saving and inserting this info, the software will now check on a nightly basis for these dates. It will also update if there are any date changes on the Visa Bulletin. As soon as it sees that your client is now current according to the Visa Bulletin, you will get an email notification with those details. The software essentially becomes in charge of tracking, notifying you, and avoiding missing these dates. With USCIS Receipts, it works similar. Going back to the document section on the case profile, we will now go to Notices. We will add a notice. From here, we will enter some information. The first thing asked is the receipt number. Then you will enter the filing date. You will then enter the filing center. You will select the form submitted. The forms listed here correlates with the forms accepted by that location according to the USCIS processing times table. The form description will be listed for you. You will select the classification if it applies to this form. Once you have this info, the processing time will be listed according to the USCIS processing times table. The final action current as of will list when your client becomes current. You can enter more information such as issuance date, notice date, as well as other info, but it is not needed. The software has enough info to track this receipt. But before we click on Save and Exit out, just like with the Visa info we did earlier, we will select who will receive the email notification by clicking on the blue icon. You will select the caseworkers and can even select which clients will receive the email. Once you've made your selections, click on Done. Besides selecting who receives an email, we can share this with the client via the client portal, allowing them to monitor their receipt once they log in. We can even upload an image file pertaining to this receipt through here. Lastly, just like we saw previously, you can enter more detailed info that you'll see on the email you receive, such as the petitioner, the beneficiary, the client's email, the caseworker's name, and lastly, any notes. Once you click Save, just like with Visa Bulletin info, the software will track this receipt according to the processing times table. As soon as it senses your client is current, according to the dates on there, you will receive an email notification. As you can see, this optional module will come in handy tracking dates and sending you emails so you don't miss out on important dates. But this feature here also allows you to store receipt info as well. If you ever need to change info, you can always come back to this receipt located in the case and click the Edit button, adding new stuff to it. Or, if you want to see what's the status of the receipt, you can click on the link and it will take you to the USCIS's site with the latest. If you were to share this with your client, they can also view this clickable link in the client profile as mentioned previously. If you click on the link and notice that the case was approved or simply don't need this receipt to be tracked anymore, you can go back inside the receipt details and click on Completed. That way, you don't receive an email alerting you that the client is current, as this optional module will still be tracking those dates. By hitting Complete, it's like you telling the system the case is done and there is no need to keep tracking these dates. Something to keep in mind, this Times Tracker feature is directly linked with the Visa Bulletin and the Processing Times table linked with the USCIS, meaning it will show exact locations, exact forms, and exact times according to what's on there. But what if you receive a notice from a different location, not on the Processing Times table? You can still add it on here, but because there is no Processing Times table for that new location, our software is unable to track the receipt number as it normally would with ones on the Processing Times table. However, you can add the info here for safekeeping and still click on the link, taking you to the USCIS site. To add a non-trackable notice, you must first add a custom filing center, so that it becomes an option to select when adding the notice. This can be done in the Admin Tools page. To access the Admin Tools page, click on the Settings button on the top right and proceed to click on Administrative Tools. Once inside the Admin Tools page, click on Custom Filing Center. You will then click on Add Custom Filing Center. From here, you will add the name of the location and click on Save. Once saved, you will now go to the Caseworker Portal, and just like we inserted the previous receipt, you will locate the new filing center. Manually type the form name, the description, and add more other info if needed. Once saved, you will now be able to click on the link to see the status, and you can also share this with your client. This concludes our video on the optional module USCIS Visa Bulletin Times Tracker. Hit the subscribe button to be alerted when new videos come out and be informed of new features like this one. Thank you for watching.